than blaming the man who abused the woman or who assaulted the woman or who tracked the woman down in the dark and hunted the woman down like a monster, we are looking at the woman, be like, you know what, you probably shouldn't have wore that. You shouldn't have been walking alone. In what realm does that actually make sense?
Early in the morning,
What's going on, people? It's your boy Cam, Topical Juice, and I'm back with a really sad story today. But I'll be honest, I was cleaning my room and my dog decided to come up. So he might be joining me for 2 minutes, 5 minutes. He might be here. He might be here by the end of the video. He might be gone by the end of the video. Who knows? But either way, he's playing with my boxes right now. But anyway, listen. As I said 2 seconds ago, I'm back with a really sad and quite disturbing story. Disturbing for a number of reasons. The story itself is incredibly disturbing, alarming. But what shocked me is the aftermath, the reaction to the story. And I'm just disgusted at the misogyny and the ignorance coming from men, but not just men, women as well. Absolutely shocking stuff. What has the disappearance of Sarah Everard taught us? Now, the title says us, but I don't know if it's an us thing. Really, it should just say me. What has it taught me? Now, without further ado, let's get into this video. Please like the video for me. Please hit the subscribe button for me. Please hit the bell to be notified for me. And thank you for joining the community, anyone that has, appreciated. Now, if you guys don't know, for whatever reason you haven't seen it on social media or you haven't seen it on the news, a 33-year-old woman called Sarah Everard went missing last week. Yesterday, a police officer got arrested and charged with not only kidnap, but charged with the murder of Sarah as well. And someone else has been arrested. I think a female has been arrested alongside and has been charged with helping an offender, assisting an offender. So what do we know about the story so far? There's not really been much that's come out. So this is quite a new, quite a fresh story. Even though it happened a few days ago, there's not much info that's come out. So I'm just going to tell you what we do know so far, what we do know. And I'm going to tell you about, I'm going to add my spin on it and give my opinion on the reaction. So what do we know? Sarah lives in Brixton, or lived in Brixton, and Clapham after seeing a friend. She was walking home from Clapham through to Brixton. She walked through Clapham Common, and I believe she made it through Clapham Common, no problem, and she actually went missing a bit more public, so a bit more on the roads, you know, well lit, public, you know what I'm saying, not in the common type thing. The family obviously had hoped that she would turn up, but what has now developed is over the last 24 hours, not only has a police officer been arrested for a murder, some human remains have been found in Kent. So she lived in Brixton, she went missing in Clapham, and some remains have ended up in Kent. Now the police officer who got arrested lived in Kent. So that's what we know so far. There's little bits and bobs of more information out there, but that's the main bulk of it. As the story develops over time, I will be doing more videos on it, etc, etc. However, the angle I'm taking on this video here is, what has this disappearance taught us? What has this disappearance taught me? What have I noticed after Sarah disappeared? Specifically from social media, specifically from women, men, police department. What are people saying and how are people feeling? So the first thing I want to talk about is this misogyny. We have not developed as a human race at all. And I'm going to talk about that at the end. So please stay till the end, because that's going to be quite a valid point that I really want you guys to pay attention to. But the first point is this misogyny, right? This has highlighted to me how misogynistic we still are as a society. How misogynistic men still are specifically, but not just men, women out there as well. What I saw people tweeting was just disturbing. And what I mean is, people are victim blaming once again. This is what we do. We always blame the victim. It's easier to blame the victim. We might as well look at, if something happens to a victim, what did that victim do wrong? Was it the clothes she was wearing? Was it the time of day that she was walking in? Was it the location she was walking through? Clapham Common, etc, etc. All of those things there are completely irrelevant and void. But yet, in order to protect women's safety, we often dictate women's behaviors and tell them, you know what, you probably shouldn't be walking through that time of night. Yeah, you know, what happened to her was wrong, but she probably shouldn't have been walking through that time of night, really. Maybe she shouldn't have been walking through there alone. Yeah, she's a bit of an idiot, really. She should have been buddying up and all that. Huh? Is that where society is still? That when women get raped or when someone is racially abused, we always look at the victim rather than the person who actually did it. When a black person gets arrested, for instance, for doing nothing, a lot of white people, especially in America, will be like, oh, yeah, it was wrong that he got arrested, but yeah, he probably shouldn't have resisted. He probably should have just complied. Well, if he did nothing wrong, why should you comply? And once again, that's just pure racism. That's blaming the victim there. Same thing applies here. Rather than blaming the man who abused the woman or who assaulted the woman or who tracked the woman down in the dark and hunted the woman down like a monster, we are looking at the woman, be like, you know what, you probably shouldn't have wore that. You shouldn't have been walking alone. In what realm does that actually make sense? Listen to what we're saying here. We give women rules not to get raped and sexually abused. Why are we not giving men rules to not rape and sexually abuse? It's ridiculous. It's embarrassing. It's moments like this year where I really get embarrassed to be actually a part of the male species. I ain't gonna lie to you. Because I ain't like the rest of these men out there. My friends ain't like the rest of these men out there. There's some real monstrous men out there, real sick, twisted, low self-esteem, insecure men who can't get no things. And they can't do this and they can't do that. And they have to force themselves and have to assert themselves on people that are physically weaker than them. Or maybe mentally weaker than them. Because, well, I don't mean women are mentally weaker, but it's often the case where men might manipulate a woman's emotions and things like that. And that has a part to play as well. So for me, this just highlights we have not gone anywhere when it comes to misogyny. Or we haven't gone anywhere, period, anyway, to be honest, and I'm going to get to that. A man tweeted, oh, you know what, we shouldn't be focusing on women going missing and being protecting women at night. We should be protecting everyone. You know, it's dangerous for everyone. What does that sound like to you? Does that not sound like all lives matter to you? Seriously, are we seeing the comparisons here? When I say, oh, you know what, black people are getting murdered and police are murdering black people, this and this, and we need to get equality, Black Lives Matter, you get a whole heap of people saying, no, all lives matter. No, we're not saying that all lives don't matter. We're saying that we need to focus and prioritize one at the moment because these lot are seriously going through it. So whether it's black people, whether it's women, whoever it is, it's the same type of example. In what realm does that make any sense whatsoever? Underneath that tweet, a woman agreed. A woman was like, I agree, you're right. Women aren't oppressed or women aren't targeted. We are strong and powerful. We need to bring women up. I was reading this like, what? What's this got to do with empowering women? Statistically speaking, the stats don't lie. Like there's clearly, for the amount of, if the amount of men that get raped or the amount of whatever, men are victims are here, women would be, my hand doesn't go high enough. Do you understand? My hand does not go high enough. So it doesn't matter about what you think, empowering women. No, this is clearly an issue. Targeting women and attacking women, etc., is an issue. Have a look at your screens right now. These are the rules we should be setting. Just pause your screen because I don't want to make this video too long. But have a look at those rules. Those rules currently are rules that are set in place for women. You know, buddy up, do this, do that. Those are the revised rules. These are what the rules should be. Now, the second thing this case has taught me here, or not taught me at all, in fact, I already knew this, but what has taught us as society is the fact that anyone is capable of crime. Just because it is a police officer, don't let it go over your head that just because someone wears a uniform, someone's a doctor, someone's a judge, someone's a police officer, they are still human beings. Who do you think was underneath those KKK hats, KKK robes, lynching black people? Teachers, lawyers, judges, police officers. Are we seeing a theme here? So just because someone puts on a white cloak and diagnoses you with cancer, this and this, they're still gonna go home and argue with their wife or husband. They might be estranged to their kids. They still might use a racial slur in the pub when they're drunk. They are human beings. So therefore they are capable of something that I'm capable of. Don't be so shocked. You don't suddenly put on a blue uniform and you become superhuman and it's all outstanding citizen. No, you carry those morals, you carry that mentality before the uniform into your job as well after the uniform. It's the same thing. And people just seem to forget that. So nah, people are still human beings and don't let that go over your head because I'm not shocked at all. Actually, in fact, I'm part of the black community. I'm going to be the least shocked that a police officer's committed a crime. What does that say about the institution and how the black people view police officers now? And our experience with police officers now? I'm not going to spoon feed you, you know, that tells you all you need to know. The third thing that it taught me is what I was hinting at a minute ago in the video, is that we haven't progressed as humans. If you've been following me for months here, you'll know that I say this all the time. I say this in my videos. I say we are a product of where we have come from before. When I was born in 1995, me and all the 95 babies weren't just plopped into the earth and the earth was just designed this way. Do you understand? The earth has evolved and changed, and society has evolved and changed over time. Yeah? So, have a look at this now. This was about 50 years ago. As you can see on your screens, this was from 1977. This was from a march that started in Leeds, and it was called Reclaim the Night. Reclaim the Night. I bet 50 years ago, whenever it was, when they thought that was happening, they probably thought that was the start of like a revolution, the start of the change, shall we say. Nothing's changed. 50 years later, people are still getting abused, raped, and women are still fearing for their safety at night. They were doing it back then. Martin Luther King was doing it back then. Malcolm X was doing it back then. Do you understand? All these things that we were fighting for, whether it's women's rights or this and this, we're still fighting for it today. Do you not understand? So when you sit here and say that racism doesn't exist and misogyny doesn't exist and it's nowhere where we move forward, no, we haven't. In 100, 200, 300 years time, they will look at 2020, 2021 in the same light as they looked at the 1900s. Do you understand? I'm not even a fortune teller. I know that. I know this. And I can't tell the future. And in 200 years, 300 years, they will look back at this time we're living in now as animalistic times, as what do you call it? As real inhumane times. The times where black people are still getting murdered on the street. The times where women still get abducted and thingy this and this. The times where Chinese people still get attacked for a Chinese virus. Do you understand? The time we're living in right now will be viewed as equally as horrific as 200 years before now. We haven't changed. We've just got better technology and more opinions. That's it. Simple as that. I'm going to definitely be following up this video as the story progresses. But let me know your thoughts below. Like, comment, subscribe. Rest in peace to Sarah. It hasn't been 100% confirmed, but it's 99% confirmed. So rest in peace. My thoughts and prayers go out to the family. And yeah, man, I really hope that police officer gets exactly what's coming to him. And people exactly like him. Peace.